Hey y'all, so I'm coming back today with another peach video. This is going to be more a tutorial style video on how to can peaches in light syrup. So a couple weeks ago I did a video kind of more vlog style where I showed you a few peach recipes that we were creating, but today I'm going to be showing y'all specifically how to can peaches. So this seemed to be very much so a daunting task to me just even a year ago. Canning in general has been a very daunting task for me. I mentioned that a little bit in videos, but I just want to show you today how simple this process actually is. This is my third year to be canning items, my first successful year. So I kind of just want to take you through the process, let you know that it's not as intimidating as it seems, and kind of why you would even want to can your own peaches. So as you can see, I've already been pretty busy canning lots of peaches already. We're just going to finish up the last few today. I'm going to take y'all along for that process. Why would you want to can your own peaches? You can buy them at the store. Canned goods are an easy item you can stock up on, but why not do it yourself if you can? There's also a lot of extra ingredients added in those canned peaches that you can purchase at the store. You can get them in like heavy syrup or light syrup. Even the ones with light syrup often have things such as high fructose corn syrup, added citric acid, and natural flavors. So when you do it yourself, you know exactly what you're putting in there, and I'm going to give you an option today to either make your simple syrup with sugar or honey. So either option, whichever one suits your dietary preferences, and I guess we'll go ahead and get started. It's actually a pretty simple process. Y'all will see it's not as intimidating as it sounds. So I am not a professional canner. I don't have all the professional tools yet. This is really the only canning tool I have, which is to get the jars out, and I highly recommend this one. So like I said, I'm a very low maintenance, minimal canner thus far. I don't even have a canning bath, none of those special tools except this grabber to grab jars out of the hot water bath. So I do advise one of these. So I have a pot going for our water bath, and to sterilize our jars, have a pot going that the peaches will blanch in, and then I have a small pot here that I will put my simple syrup in. So I actually made the simple syrup yesterday because you see we've already done a lot of peaches. But all you will need is 4 cups of filtered water and 1.5 cups of honey, or 2 cups of sugar. So it's 4 cups of water, 2 cups of sugar, 4 cups of water, 1.5 cups of honey, and it will dissolve it. I'm just going to rewarm mine. I didn't want to make a whole new batch because I already had this from yesterday. Of course, my oven's not right now. Sometimes this oven's a little bit tricky. To kind of keep things going in sort of a good assembly line, I put 6 peaches in the boiling water, which is not almost boiling. We'll give it a couple more minutes. I'll put 6 peaches in and then move down my assembly line. So I have a bowl for cooling the peaches, a bowl for peeling the peaches, and then I'm going to get a bowl for the peels and like the pits that I don't want on the peaches. So kind of have a little assembly line going here. It works best if you have that going. If you have 2 people, it works even better because one person can kind of be at one step in the assembly line. It goes pretty fast. All right, I'm going to go ahead and sterilize my jars. We're in the process of moving some things around our kitchen, so you'll have to ignore this nice little gap between my oven and the countertop. Okay, so this is warming my simple syrup. My peach water is about to boil, so I'm going to go ahead and add, with my tongs, 6 peaches. This is just the number that I found works the best for peeling, blanching, and all keeping the assembly line going. 6 peaches. We're just wanting to blanch those in the water. So about 2 to 3 minutes is what works best. That will help the skins come off very easily when we put them into the cold water bath and then peel them. Now I'm going to put some cold tap water in a bowl so that when the peaches come out of the boiling water, the cooking process will stop and they can cool off. You will always want to start with new fresh canning lids. This is something I just did not know my first year canning, and I used canning lids I already had, and then I wondered why my cans didn't seal. So that is an important fact. You don't have to use new rings every year. You can reuse your rings. Do not sterilize them. That is another mistake I have made. I have sterilized them in boiling water, and that can ruin the seal. So I'm just going to wash them in hot soapy water and leave them in a hot bowl of water, a warm bowl of water, until I'm ready to use them. My 6 peaches have blanched for around 2 minutes. I'm going to put them immediately into the cold water, let them sit for 2 to 3 minutes again, and then we'll peel. So this is where the assembly line kind of starts going. So these peaches are going into the ice bath. I'm gonna put 6 more peaches into the blanching water. I'm also gonna turn off my simple syrup because it is warm. It just needs to be warm for when we put it into the cans. So I'm gonna give these a minute and start peeling. You can see they already are starting to peel right off. The longer these cool, the easier they will be to peel. This is where it is really helpful to have 2 people because I can already have the next person slicing these, but it's not really that bad of a process by yourself if you have kind of the assembly line set up. Okay, so I'm on my last peach coming out of a cold water bath, which will let me know that those are about ready to come out of the boiling water, the blanching ones. This is not a clean process by any means. So I am going to change out my water bath. I need more fresh cold water to stop that cooking process when they come off of the boiling water. Where this canning tool is like the most helpful canning tool ever. If you don't have any canning tools like me, I highly advise getting one of these jar grabbers, whatever they're called. But you don't need all the fancy canning tools. I'm proving it here to you today. And I just set up my messy workstation right here in the middle. This is gonna get peach juice all over it, so I will have a fresh, clean towel when I actually put them up to can. For like the workstation, I just have an old towel here in the middle of my oven. These are probably cool, but they can sit there another minute while I go ahead and slice these because I don't want to get behind on our little assembly line here. So the easiest way I found to slice the peaches, chop into that seed. So you're gonna hit the seed and then the little slices will just fall right out. It's pretty simple, honestly. Slice, 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 hit that seed, and then the seed comes right out. It's super, super easy. So I have nice little peach slices here that we will put into our canning jars pretty soon. This is the step where I was saying that it's helpful if you have a second person to be keeping up with the chopping while the others are in the water bath, kind of just to keep it going. But I'm by myself today. My husband did help me with a lot of these. Last night, we knocked out a good 6 or 8 of those jars. Quickly peel these and then get that last set out of the blanching water, which it's probably gone a little longer than it needs to, but there's no like specific right or wrong time. You just don't want to completely cook the peaches. You kind of just want them to be a little soft. And as you'll see, these are very soft to the touch. They're super easy to chop. I can turn that off now because we're done blanching peaches. I'm going to keep this pot of water going because that's what I'm going to be using for the water bath. But I'm going to show y'all one little trick that I wish I had known last year and year before when I was messing up all of these canning jars I was doing. So in the bottom of this pot, I have a dish towel. It's kind of floating up right now, but I'll pack it back down before I put my jars in. So if you don't have a fancy like canning rack to hold your jars off of the bottom of the pot, when you put in the hot jars with the peaches or whatever you're canning into the pot and they hit the bottom, something about that reaction, your jars will crack. I can't tell y'all how many jars I have placed in and immediately I hear a crack, and then I have my contents that I've been canning all in the bottom of my jar because I did not know that little trick. I guess all of the like videos and tutorials I was reading, the person was using one of those racks that keeps the jars off the bottom. I don't have one of those. So this is the easiest hack. You just put a dish towel in there, keep it packed to the bottom. When I put these on, it'll kind of pack it back down. That will keep your jars from breaking. So don't miss that important step like I did. If you're not a fancy professional canner, you don't have all the fancy equipment, a dish towel works just fine. all of our peaches ready to go into the canning jars. We'll top them with the light syrup, which was the honey and the water. I used honey in this one, but remember you could also use sugar. My countertop is officially a disaster, but that's okay. We're getting a lot of fresh food up for us to enjoy in the winter and the fall months when we don't have fresh peaches from the local farm. I am one that likes to clean as I go. I hate having a huge mess at the end. So let me know down below if you clean as you go or if you wait until the end to just clean everything at one time. So I have one more towel out. You do want to put your canning jars on a towel so that they don't hit against that hard counter surface and cause any cracking or pressure issues. So here's my new clean towel for when they come out of the water bath. Now a canning funnel is also very useful when canning. When I used the wide mouth here, I actually didn't use the canning funnel because it was easy just to drop the peaches in, but this regular mouth jar, that's all I had left. I am going to use the canning funnel because it is a lot less mess. Also found it really helpful to use a small measuring cup to spoon them in. Peaches are still warm. Everything's still just kind of warm. It doesn't have to be super hot, but you kind of want to do this in a quicker fashion so that everything's still kind of warm. I don't really want to can this small amount, so I'm going to see what I can disperse between these two, and then whatever's left I'll just enjoy this afternoon for a snack. Okay, so here's our 2 jars. We are going to top with the simple syrup, the honey and water mixture, or water and sugar mixture, whatever you use. Remember just to leave about a 1/2 inch headspace. Perfect amount. Now you'll want to go in with a knife and kind of pop out all of those air bubbles. You see those air bubbles kind of floating to the top as I poke this in there. This is just going to make sure we don't have extra air pockets for the preservation process. Now this last step is probably the most important step of all, and a step that I missed many times in my first few years of canning: wiping these rims very, very clean. We use the canning funnel to hopefully prevent lots of extra messes getting on top of these rims, but if these rims, this lip on top, is not clean of stickiness, debris, anything, our seal could not latch and we would have not a preserved can of peaches, and that's what we're going for here. So don't make the mistake I made in many canning processes of not wiping your jar. You can use a wet paper towel, a wet rag, just get it clean. Now we have our lids that we washed earlier. They have a nice little tool where you can put your magnet in here. You can put a little tool here, picks it up with a magnet. I told you I'm not fancy, I don't have that tool. I'm just gonna pop the lid on very carefully, try not to touch the rim, and add your rings. Just want it finger tight, it doesn't have to be super tight or anything. And they're ready to go into the water bath. So I do want to make sure my dish towel is on the bottom of that pot for when I put these in, to avoid any glass jars breaking. I personally process for 20 minutes in the water bath, but depending on your altitude and where you live, you may need to alter that time. So check that out for where you live on canning bath, water bath times for specific items. But I have found where we live in the southern United States that 20 minutes works great for us. That is pretty much it, guys. When these come out, I'll put them on this clean towel after I put everything on it. We'll let them sit for about, it's recommended 12 to 24 hours, but I usually go on the air of 24 hours just to be safe. This first set has been sitting for 24 hours, and the last set towards the back has been sitting for about 14 or 15 hours now, so they're all good and popped. You'll know that your lids have popped when you can touch them and it's very tight. You don't feel any popping. So I'm gonna go grab a can that was a failure can and show you the difference in what the lids are like. Okay, so this is one of my failures earlier this year. I did have some cans pop, but this was a can of cream corn. Did you hear how when I popped it, like I could easily pop it in? that meant it did not seal. This one has been in the freezer, so that was a failure one. So make sure when you push, you don't have any movement on your cans. That lets you know everything is sealed, everything is safe to store and at room temperature, shelf stable. Your peaches will stay good for several years. I'd say at least a year or two, shelf stable in the pantry, root cellar, wherever you like to store your canned goods. We are just going to be enjoying peaches the rest of this year and into next year until peach season comes back around again. So I hope this has been helpful to you guys, seeing a real life, step-by-step peaches, canning peaches tutorial. I know personally, y'all just heard that one pop back. That means this is not a sealed jar. You hear it? It's not sealed. Every time I pop it, it's just gonna pop back up. So make sure that's not happening with your freshly canned peaches, because like this corn, it will have to go into the fridge or freezer. And the whole point of canning is to have it shelf stable and not have to have freezer storage, just in case freezers go out and we don't have electricity. We will still have food in the pantry. So that is our goal. Maybe you're on the same goals as us as far as getting things in line to be more self-sustainable, more able to live on your own means. So hopefully this is helpful. We're excited about fresh peaches. I hope you enjoyed this fresh peach canning recipe, and let me know if you have any other tips in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not a professional canner. I just wanted to show you this from an amateur point of view, that this can actually be very simple and you don't need fancy tools. You just need to get in there and try. Thank y'all so much for watching today, and I will see you in a future video.